The president of Nigerian Economy Society, Professor Adeola Adenikinju, has urged President Bola Tinubu to establish an economic management team dedicated to addressing the current economic issues in the nation. Expressing his views to journalists, Adenikinju, who previously served as the head of the Department of Economics at the University of Ibadan, emphasized the urgency of creating this team in response to the prevailing economic challenges in the country. Drawing a comparison to the administration of former President Goodluck Jonathan, the professor highlighted the necessity of such a body, pointing out its existence during that era. He stressed the importance of the president of the NES being a fundamental member of this team, citing past practices where the NES president played a vital role in contributing sound insights for policy formulation. Professor Adenikinju underscored that Tinubu should ensure the inclusion of the current NES president as a member of the team to facilitate informed and effective policy development. To discuss this, we are joined on the news at this time by a president of the Nigerian Economy Society, Professor Adeola Adenikinju. Thank you so much for your time.
Good afternoon. Thank you for having me.
Good afternoon. Now, what specific economic challenges do you believe will necessitate the establishment of an economic management team under President Bola Tinubu's administration?
Yeah, thank you very much. I'm sure that all Nigerians will know that the economy is passing through very tough times. We have challenges across the sectors of the economy and even in the macroeconomics. Inflation is a big challenge. Foreign exchange is a big challenge. We need to have a way of, budget implementation. That is also there. The budget has just been passed. Issues around, raising government revenue is very important, enhancing the competitiveness of the economy. So there are broad areas of issues, economic issues, unemployment, and so on and so forth that the country grapples with. So in my view, it's important that the government also has the benefit of opinions of other stakeholders, in tackling those challenges.
Now, as a former head of the Department of Economics at the University of Ibadan, can you lend some weight to, of course, advocacy when it comes to creation of this particular dedicated economic team that, your society is proposing?
Yeah. Actually, it's not new. I'm aware that during Obasanjo's regime, there was a very strong economic management team that carried over to the Jonathan's regime. There was also a very strong economic management team. And the beauty of that team is that it allows the government to also benefit from the opinions of not just public sector practitioners or government officials. In the early part of Buhari's regime, he also had something close to an economic management team, but then it was simply made up of ministers and the head of government departments and agencies of government. The private sector was not included. Professional associations like economists were not included in that. So what we are advocating is, like I said, is not new. It was something that I've been trying in the past. And thought that it would be very important at the time that all hands must be on the deck towards addressing some of the challenges that we have now, that the government should also benefit from, professional counsel and advice of key stakeholders, including the Nigerian Economic Association and the Nigerian Economy Society. And it's like when you are looking at issues around, medical, health issues, you bring in the NMA. You are looking at legal issues, you bring in the MBAs. These are people that are trained. These are professionals in that areas of, areas of, expertise.
All right.
And therefore, when you are looking at the economy, you also need to have, economy is not just a general thing that everybody comments on. You also have people who are trained in those areas. And it is important that the government takes advantage of those kind of skills.
All right, Professor Adenikinju, I'll get into specifics now. I mean, as an economic maverick, what's your take on the president's first pronouncement on day one, of being sworn in as president, and that's subsidy removal and also the exchange rate, of course, policy adjustment that we saw immediately the administration hit, the ground running?
I mean, as an economist and also somebody who has been working in the area of the energy sector, I mean, I gave kudos to the president for those bold reforms. The energy sector reform was long in coming. It's something we should have done even before the time he announced it, because that the oil subsidy, in particular petrol subsidy, because it's not just oil subsidy, it's just petrol. Diesel subsidy has been removed, kerosene has been removed, LPG has been removed. It's just petrol. It's just one product that the elites consume that has generated so much furore. So basically, we need to have done that. And I think the government did the right thing by removing that subsidy. The way it was done, I don't so have challenge with it, but I thought, in my view, as someone who has been working in this area, that there should be a lot of more communication, with the public, so that you can carry the public along as to what you are doing, why you are doing it, and the kind of challenges that will be on the way, how you intend to address those challenges, and also what will happen thereafter. So those are some of the things that I thought what really the major problems with the policy is the implementation and the gap between the government and the people. But in terms of the rationale for that policy, it was very good.
How about the exchange rate?
Yeah, the exchange rate too. I mean, people seem to forget this very easily. At the time we were having this dual exchange rate, and you have this very spread, this huge spread between the official rate and the black market rate, a lot of Nigerians were talking about the implications of that, on the economy, how it was sending wrong messages, to investors, because you can't plan appropriately. It also allows for a whole lot of round tripping, mismanagement, corruption. People who are linked, who have, the connections, get money at the official market, go to the black market and just change it. You can't run an economy like that. So you have an economy that will transmit, the appropriate signals to investors and to stakeholders that this is the appropriate value of your currency. So again, that policy was right. Now you have issue around the implementation. Again, I think much of the problem I have is in terms of communication. That government, when you are going through reforms, you must be able to lead your people hand on so that they can know what you are doing, why you are doing it, what are the challenges of the way, how you intend to, to address those challenges. And in particular, you must also show that we are in it together. Those are, I think, in my view, are some of the challenges that we have with the current way some of these policies are being implemented.
All right. Now, let's talk about what you feel the government or the current administration can do better. When it comes to the economy, we know right now that in Nigeria there is a rising cost of basic amenities like food, transportation, and all of that. What can be done to actually reverse this hard economic times that a lot of Nigerians are facing?
Basically, and again, I've said this in other fora before, given the challenges that we had, the headwinds around the economy, the vulnerabilities, both from, external shocks and internal shocks and even climate change, the changes that we need, the reform is not just going to be something that would, that we can start seeing the result immediately. I told people somewhere that we'll have about 2 years of tough decisions, that we have to take as a country in order to reset the economy. To reset the economy from, dependence on just, the oil subsidy and the exchange rate misalignments and the weak government revenue. The budget per capita in Nigeria is one of the lowest in the world. So that limits how much of government you could have. How much of government intervention that you could have. So what we need to do in my view. And that's part of why I said that then the economic management team will be very important, because here you are able to harvest other opinions, apart from what government officials would, government ministers and others would give to the government. Now, one of the key challenges that we have is with respect to, you mentioned it, around inflation. Inflation, the exchange rate issue that we also have. Now, the important thing is, one of the things the government is trying to do, which is to address the issue of security. Because inflation is also caused by structural factors, not just demand management. You also have structural factors that are driving this inflation. One, because of inflation, because of infrastructure. Two, because of security. Food comes from certain parts of the country. The cultural inputs come from certain parts of the country mainly. And if those people cannot go to farm because of insecurity, or the cost goes up because now you have to price in, the insurance around those kind of risks, that's going to affect, the amount of, the market price for those goods. So it's important what government is trying to do to address those security challenges. Two is that we also need to address infrastructure and transportation. Those are also very important. Now, these supply factors are not short-term factors. The reality is that we have to go through some tough decisions, but we must see that government is doing certain things to address that. So security, infrastructure, electricity, transportation, rail, these are major interventions that government must have to make. And I think the budget, the way the budget has been structured, in my view, is okay, because there are some, the allocation to those sectors are quite significant relative to the past. So if government is faithful in its commitment to implementing the budget, I think that will also help to address some of the supply challenges that we have now, which will then transmit to inflation and then other macroeconomic problems we have.
All right, thank you so much for your time, Professor Adeola Adenikinju. That's, of course, the president of the Nigerian Economy Society. Thank you once again.
Thank you for having me.